Where is the place of accountability and a sense of responsibility in public life in today's Nigeria? And for every calamity that has befallen the country, why has it been difficult for someone in the public office to admit culpability and voluntarily give up positions and perks in order to enhance the processes needed for unfettered investigation? Recently, the Nigerian media was inundated by Minister Issa Pantami's admission to expressing extremist religious views, albeit in deference to a foreign ideology. But why is he still in office, many are asking. And despite substantial revelations of sleaze at the Niger Delta Development Commission a few months ago, why has the country moved on as if nothing happened? And with the new service chief sounding exactly like the ones they replaced, even as insecurity tightens its grip on the nation, what hope is there to hold for the immediate future? Still from Arise Abuja studio, we're now being joined for a chat by Kolawole Johnson, member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and head Directorate of Research, Strategy and Programs, Act for Positive Transformation Initiatives. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, and it's good to be here again. Good morning.
Well, and it's good to see you again. Quickly, we've been discussing World Press Freedom Day, which is today. And we've had all kinds of views in the papers this morning about the role of the media in the development process, particularly in Nigeria. Do you think that the Nigerian media has been able to discharge its functions responsibly since 1859, as a system for promoting the public good, as a kind of check on the excesses of government, as stated in Section 22? How it's just a community of bad eggs, as one prominent government official pointed out. What do you think of the media on this occasion of World Press Freedom Day?
If you, of course, as a veteran, you understand the rules of agenda setting theory. It starts by reporting the news. And the second is by focusing attention on the meat of the news, what you want the people to think about the news. And to that extent, the media can't do more than that. Now, you don't manufacture news. It is what happened. When something happens, you report. And when you report, you further discuss on whatever has happened by examining, analyzing the content of the report. And so if you have bad news in the society, it is not the fault of the media. It is simply because the society is producing such news and the media is only reporting. So to that extent, the media has done their job in Nigeria. However, there is no aspect of a society that can be entirely different from the society itself. The same way the same society produced the kind of leaders we have, the same society also has produced the kind of journalists we have. And you can't absorb the media in Nigeria from some blame, but for the government or whoever to describe the entire media as with such words, I think it just conforms with their expectation. These same people, when they were outside as opposition, were they describing the media the same way? No, they were not. So if today they are describing the media the same way that they were not describing them when they were outside the government too, it therefore means that the fault is not with the media. It is their view. They have changed their view. Their view about the media some years back when they were outside the government, it's not the same as their view right now. And the media has not changed. So it therefore means that the fault is not the media, but the people who are holding different views about the media at different times as it suits them.
Right, so the fault is not with the media. How refreshing. That's quite different from the usual refrain. But I wanted to ask you about this culture that we have here in which a lack of accountability is evident. Issa Pantami is the latest example. The NDDC audit / probe / public show of shame in which, well, you were particularly vocal. He's just disappeared from all the news headlines. What exactly is happening there? We have a new young EFCC chairman. A lot of people are happy with that generational shift, but we haven't heard anything about the Salami panel report that ousted the acting EFCC chairman. We have a culture of sweeping things under the carpet and never fully achieving any kind of resolution, much less sanctioning anybody found to be wanting in any way. What is your comment on that?
Recently, the Minister of Information took the blame game to a new dimension when he said the insecurity we are experiencing in the country today can be traced to whatever happened in 1976. So let me take it a bit further to attempt to date back the problem we have in our institutions to the colonial era. Now, if you understand colonialism very well, you would, of course, understand the fact that what brought the colonial masters was simply the economic gain. It was nothing about whether they love Africa or not. Of course, it is not out of the benevolence of the baker or the brewer that you expect your dinner. It is out of their own selfish interest. So, when they came to Africa, it was solely on economic benefit. Remember the Berlin Conference of 1885. And in that conference, they simply said, okay, European countries, colonial masters, stop fighting over who owns what country or what area. Let us divide these colonies among ourselves. And Nigeria was ceded to Britain. And do not forget that as at that time, 1886, the Britain was not ready for full colonization. So they contracted the administration of Nigeria, of Niger area then, to a man called Tubman Gordon. Now, that man was a businessman that owned Niger Company in Nigeria. So he got the royal charter to administer Nigeria and pay royalties to the British government. Established that what we have from the beginning is a transactional kind of leadership. In 1899, when the British was ready for full colonization of the country, they purchased Nigeria back from Tubman Gordon for £865,000. They had to pay the man so they can own Nigeria back. And from that time also, you can trace it back to establish the fact that what we have had all over history is just one kind of leadership, transactional. And as long as it is transactional, the aim is profit. And like the capitalist will do, whatsoever that it will take to get profit, you make profit. Moral is not a game here. The interest of the people does not come first on the list. So if profit is the gain and the leader is in office, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what the people want. In fact, they defeat the Estonian rule that says that it is the input of the people that forms the government policy. No, it is about their own input alone. So what we have in Nigeria, traced back to the beginning of the country, is simply transactional leadership. These people are simply transacting. See, when they get to power, they see it as a call to the table and not necessarily a call to serve. So to that extent, they do not owe or they do not see you as very important, as one to be, to deserve their submission. So they see themselves as people. Okay.
Kolawole Johnson, great insight, but just for the purpose of clarity on history, the Royal Niger Company had been before the Berlin Conference was held. I mean, just for the sake of history and clarity. But
yes. No.
I mean,
see,
that's a part.
Hold on, please.
If you let me go on.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. What had been then was Niger Company. Before Berlin Conference, you had Niger Company. It was after they got the royal charter from Britain that it became Royal Niger Company. Please cross-check that fact.
Okay, Kolawole, that's not the slant of the matter. What I want to talk to you about was totally different. You had a back and forth recently with the NDDC. We all saw how that went. You printed out account statements and account details and all of that. And, we saw you were a champion of some sort, was trying to clean up the system. But it led to accusations and counter-accusations. Some people finger-pointed, say you were not a saint in all of this. You went to the media, you came to the media a lot for soccer and all of this because the media helped you propagate and share your message out, and we interviewed every part. I mean, what lessons did you learn from that experience? And is that experience still on? Because we've not gotten to the end of the matter. What's happening to NDDC now? They have an administrator. We've not seen the audit we talked about. It's just like the normal factor. The news cycle is over and everybody has moved on. And the fainting spell over too, I should say.
Dear brother, I'll be saying, perhaps, let me just make some very emphatic statement. And I'm glad this government is no longer talking about fighting corruption. And that's the truth. Empirically, I was able to prove that the government is not ready to fight corruption. Rather, the government wants to entrench corruption in the system. And I give you fact. After all of this struggles, I told you how we brought young Nigerians together. Now, how did this start? How did the struggle start? We look at the system and notice that we just make noise about, we complain daily, make some noise, and we keep quiet. So we say, let us approach this differently. So let's not do that. Let's pick one agency after the other and do thorough investigation and ensure that we cause changes to be made in such places, in such a way that the place can be responsive to the people. And fortunately or unfortunately, NDDC happened to be the very first that we got that detailed, thorough, we got the fact out. And thank God for the media that also came to our rescue. Even when they were bribing the media from left, right, center, we have records. But some stood out, just like your station, and you were able to put the conversation out there. And we thought that the government was going to act. Now, of all the institutions that that played major role, the media inclusive, and the National Assembly. We wrote the National Assembly. Because we also forced them nearly to call for, the probe or whatever they did. And we took everything there, thinking there was going to be action to at least reposition NDDC. And at the point the president said he was waiting for the report of, the probe. When he got the report of the probe, what did he do? Absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. He did nothing. Even when the probe was ongoing, with the kind of revelation we have, why are you waiting for National Assembly? You have the anti-corruption agency there. They have the fact. We have submitted. We submitted to the president's office himself. And what happened? Nothing. As a matter of fact, I've never seen young Nigerians, being tortured like that. It wasn't about the process of investigation. It was about the fact that the hope we had in the president that he was going to act was dashed. It was about the fact that this president came on the office, came to the office on the premise that, he was going to fight corruption. And unfortunately, we were able to prove that the president was not ready to fight corruption. And wait for it. When some members of that interim team, when they removed them, they never made any reference to the fact that they had allegation of corruption. They just removed them on some, flimsy excuses. So the fact is that the onus was not on us. We have done all we should do. We did everything. As a matter of fact, they even frustrated and scattered our team. As I talked to you, of our 28 members, we barely have 11 left because most of them are very angry because they felt, even if we, hold on, because they felt that if we continue with this, with other agencies, the government will do nothing.
Well, Kolawole Johnson, let's take a short commercial break and then we'll come back to you quickly. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Still with us is Kolawole Johnson, member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and head, Directorate of Research, Strategy and Programs, Act for Positive Transformation Initiatives. Well, thank you very much, Kolawole Johnson, for staying with us. I'm sorry I interrupted you. We needed to take that, advertisement, commercial break. And you were talking about the NDDC and certain recent developments. If you may just conclude your thoughts on that before we proceed.
So, I said, what we've been able to prove is the fact that the government is not serious about fighting corruption. And unfortunately, too, we're caught in what Karl Marx described as dialectical materialism. It simply states that the struggle, or when you see struggle within some certain class in the society, it can be traced to matter. Matter here means materialism, money. And as at that time, too, when we submitted most of those things to the National Assembly, and we saw the back and forth accusations between the two camps, unfortunately also, we thought they were also very serious. We thought they were, also, serious about nipping this in the bud and reforming the agency. But unfortunately, it's not looking like that. It appears it was just about money, about who get what and who does not get what. As a matter of fact, as we talk to you now, the most alarming, thing I've seen recently is the fact that the same thing we shouted about, the culture is back to the table. I'm aware that when this new man got there, he cancelled over 400 desilting contract. I'm aware, we're aware. But suddenly again, the last few weeks have been filled with all manner of desilting approval and payment, and you wonder where exactly are they executing this contract? Billions have been filtered away. But unfortunately, as much as we are collecting this document, and of course, we are not alone, like 3 or 4 the NGOs now are very much involved, and they are collecting data. But the fact is, if you come to the media again, are we just going to come to make noise and the government will do nothing? So what we do these days is to write to appropriate authorities, appropriate agencies, who are involved. And we did something like 2 months ago, and a very major error was reversed. We have not stopped, but we have only changed our approach to this issue since the government is not serious about fighting corruption. And unfortunately, the institution that should oversight and checkmate them appears not to be doing enough as we speak. Now, something happened last week when 2 weeks ago we had a meeting, and one of the major NGOs working on this brought some documents to the table where some payments were traced indirectly to some members of an institution. One of them got almost like 1.6 billion naira payment, and another got about between 2.8 and 2.9 billion. The fact is, if you come out again today to shout, the best you can do, probably there will be discussion around it for the next 2-3 days. Maybe thereafter there will be another drama, and people will forget about it. The government will not act, and the people involved would not even step down. There's no shame about it. So, dear brother, we have done our very best. It is the government involved that should take action. We are not empowered. We don't have the power to take such action, to remove them from office. We have done our best. The onus lies on the government to act. And if they don't act, the shame is not on us. Thank you.
Okay, very quickly, Kolawole Johnson. There was something you were talking about, the difference between transactional leadership and transformational leadership. And incidentally, you are head of strategy for an NGO called Acts for Positive Transformation Initiative. How do you think Nigeria can be transformed positively so that we don't have transactional leadership, particularly at a time when many people, including clerics, are calling for change? How individually they define that change, of course, is different. But, of course, no Nigerian will argue against positive transformation. What kind of positive transformation would you like to see?
Of course, what is positive. There is this man that asked questions on development. He said, if you want to score development in a nation, it has to be by comparison, and there are basic questions that you ask. He said, first, you ask yourself what is happening to poverty. Is it increasing or decreasing? What is happening to inequality? Is it decreasing or increasing? Then what is happening to unemployment? If you look at these 3 key factors, they are all in the negative in Nigeria. So simply say we are not developing. And so if we have to develop, we need to move from these from the state we are to a better state. It doesn't matter how short or how intense it is. The most important thing is moving forward positively. But it appears what we have now, it's even worse than stagnancy. It appears we're moving backward. And unfortunately, we all yearn for this change in 2015. And for me, when I was going about campaigning for President Muhammadu Buhari to come to the office, now, I said two things, that he's bringing two things to the table. That I don't know about the economy, but is bringing his integrity to fight corruption. Then, number two, is bringing his experience to fight insecurity. But unfortunately, these two factors on the table, it appears it is zero. So, for me, I think the president has brought nothing, absolutely nothing to the table based on what is happening right now. And unfortunately, we have thrown to the ground, not even ground, we have thrown underground the standard of accessing leaders. What the president has done and gotten away with, nobody in the history of this country has ever tried that. Look at increase in different items, and we are not on the street. What happened in 2014 or when? Or was it 11 that we were all on the street? But we are not on the street now. Yet, the government does not still want to appreciate the people. They want to cripple the public space, people from expressing themselves. This, for me, is the sad part, because you cannot, if you think your idea of development will start and rest with you that sit in the comfort of the villa to underscore what you have done, it is wrong. Whatever you have done, you need to let the people score you to know if you've done better or not. And as a matter of fact, the input for public policy directly comes from the environment, the people. So there's a need for the government, first, the positive development now, to listen to the people. Now, when the people talk, you don't blackmail them simply because they have expressed not just an opinion, a popular opinion. You would not discredit the event itself. You would not even give contrary fact to what they have said. But you will go for the character of the person. This is not good for us. We should move from that, number one. Number two, we should build, I keep saying this, we can't develop without building the right institutions. We need to build strong institutions in place. Then the thought is this, is the leadership style that we have. Now, I'm sorry to say that what we have now is a kind of feudal system within the government. You have some people in government who appoint their loyalists to different positions of authority so that they can be responsive and be responsible to them, not necessarily to the people. You mentioned the EFCC chairman. I am one of those who said clearly that irrespective of how he got to the office, whether he was an appointee of a single man or not, let's give him the benefit of doubt. But you cannot discountenance the system, the process that brought him to office. And so what we have now is basically people throwing merit under the carpet, or throwing justice under the carpet, throwing equity under the carpet. You can't tell me that the only people who can do a job should be from a certain circle. So we should move forward positively by ensuring that we carry everyone along in the governance of the country. Lastly, please, let me drop this.
Well, we seem to have run out of time.
Okay.
What is left is just for us to thank you very much for joining us. But we'll get your point about moving forward positively.